Hi, today we'll be discussing about Springboard profiles concept. The Springboard profiles allows you to manage different application configurations for environments. Generally, whenever we are developing applications in the software development lifecycle, we will have three environment regions for deploying application. The first region is development region. Development region is nothing but as soon as you develop application, right? A developer will deploy that application in the development region to test that application to make sure that the code changes are working properly without any issues. Developer will have a control. He can customize that. He can control the application. He can control the deployment environment as well. That is called development environment. So testing region is the region where the testing team will test the application. So artifacts will be deployed in the testing region or staging region whenever the application has to go through the testing life cycle, software testing life cycle. So that time we use the testing or staging region. The last and final region is the production region where we will deploy the application. I mean, the tested application, completely tested application, and it has uh, it has got the approval from all the product owners, business owners, clients, as well as the the testing teams. Once it get once it gets the approval, making sure the product or application is working fine without any issues, and then the final application will be deployed in the production region. That is called the production environment or production region. So developers and testing region, they do not have a ownership on the production region. There will be separate team that will handle the production deployment or release management, will take care of that. So basically, these are the three regions in the software development life cycle. What we are doing here, whenever you are trying to deploy an application, okay, in the Spring Boot, uh, you have to manage the profile, because you will have only single application, right? You will develop only single application. But when you deploy that single application, how it will be deployed in the production region or a testing region, or a development region, how it will be decided. It has to be deployed, if I want to deploy something in the development region, how would the development team will do deploy this? And if they want to deploy it in testing, how would they do it? So they will use this profiling concept, Spring Boot profile concept, Spring profile specific configuration files. Nothing but these are profile specific. You see, there are three types of files here mentioned: property files. Application.properties file contains the default properties applicable to all environments. Okay, it is applicable. It is generic application.properties file. Application-dev dot properties. I have given a name like this, -dev, -prod, -test. I can give any name I want, but we are just aggregating the region with respect to the product properties file. Now, when I specify application-dev dot properties, it overrides the properties when the dev profile is active. So, how would I invoke the dev profile? Let's say I want to deploy application in development region, and I want all the properties from development related, right? As I told you, different environment regions will have a different application properties. Different servers name, different ports, they will have different server names and different environment variables. So they will have different configuration properties. So when we are deploying an application in different regions, we need to set the respect to environment related properties, right? So for example, you take application -dev properties. So this is having a port 8080 and its name is development website. If you take a production application file, production region, you need to have a server only 80, and also the production name is website. You can also give 8090. If it is a production region, you can give a different production property for proper port name, port details. So how can I activate this profile? Let's say I'm going to deploy an application and I have this property. Okay, now how do I how do I say, how do I enforce the application that it should activate the development related properties? How it can be done? You see, in the application.properties file, the property file which is common to all the regions, you need to specify one property, that is nothing but spring.profiles.active equal to dev. That's it, simple. If you specify this simple property there, it will override, it will enforce the application hyphen dev properties to override the actual property file. That means the properties that are mentioned inside application hyphen dev properties file, they will override and they will be applied to the application when the application is getting deployed in server environment, server region, right? So that's how it will happen. Or you can also mention that in command lines. Let's say if you are going to run the application through command line, you can simply specify hyphen, you need to you will generally use the command, right? Java hyphen jar myapp.jar space hyphen spring.profiles.active equal to production region. This will activate the production property file. Okay, if you are using a maven, right, you can run the command like this. You just need to specify the production or development region. So that's how you can actually activate the profile concept. You see, profile specific bean using, see, at the rate annotation, we have, see, configuration. You can also use a configuration class using Java based approach. So you can use at the rate profile annotation and component configuration class or service classes to limit when bean is loaded into the application context. You see, when I specify at the rate profile of inverted quotation dev, that means the dev data source config file will be invoked. Okay, you can see it will be loaded into the application dynamically when you are running the application. You see here, based on the profile that you are going to invoke, the h2 data source bean will only be created if the dev profile is active. Okay, so if this is production profile, then MySQL data source is activated. You can see the coding example, simple snippet of the code. Okay, here we have two configuration classes, dev data source config, where we are configuring h2db data source related instance. We are returning the instance, and in the second configuration class MySQL data source. You can see that, right? So what I am telling you, we are not bluffing here. Everything is clear and picture perfect, right? You can see that depending on the activation of the profile, it will configure that. Okay, I hope you are getting my point, right? And other thing is default profile. If no specific profile is active, Spring Boot uses default properties profile. That is nothing but application.properties. So Spring Boot is a very good framework, and profiles is a very good concept. You can also see the docs related Spring Boot docs specific to profiles concept. You can see here, the configuration based example here. They mentioned here production configuration in the they used at the rate profile annotation inside passing the production. You need to create the properties file. Okay, you can see application.properties file. We mentioned that dev, active dev slash hsqldb. Then it will activate the actual development related properties file. If default equal to none, then actual property file will be invoked. So if Spring profile active equal to production, you can see YAML files. I'm explaining the example. Production related property file will be activated. Okay, that way you can actually, you can give any name. It is not necessary that you should mention like hyphen dev hyphen production. You can give any name. You can give common, local, whatever it is. You can give any name. So you can see the examples here. Okay, Spring profiles group production 0 production db. This way you can actually go through different this API these keywords and how these features are, active profiles can be used. We can also customize the things. Okay. There are so many options. We can enable and disable the profile validation also by making it true or false. Okay, there are so many options are there. So this is the way where you can actually utilize the profile concept. You want to deploy the application either in dev region and staging region or in production region. Dynamically you can decide that when deploying the application, or else you can also utilize, mm, deployment. When you're creating the deployment configuration file, you can mention that you can enable the configuration where you want to deploy it. I hope you understood the concept, and thank you very much.